Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is 𝐶𝐞𝐞𝐿 and I'm a mental health advocate. So stay tuned as we talk about a conversation we need to have about mental health. So don't forget to subscribe and like, share, let people know about this episode as we talk about issues affecting mental health awareness month this June. So why does this conversation matter? I feel like June is recognized globally as World Men's Awareness Month, and while some awareness months are important, I worry that we reduce important issues to few social media posts, and after that we move on. So mental health affects everyone, but today I want to focus specifically on men, not because men are the only people who struggle, not because the experiences are more important than anyone else, but because there are certain conversations about mental health that often remain in the background, yeah, until a crisis occurs. So as a nutritionist, as an educator, as a mental health advocate, I cannot speak from lived experience of being a man, not that, but I can contribute to conversation that promote well-being, understanding, and support, because that is why I'm so passionate about mental health. So today, let's explore 10 conversations I believe deserve more attention. So come along, stay tuned, don't forget to like. So the first conversation I want us to talk about is men don't always show distress the way we expect. So when people imagine emotional distress, they often picture sadness. True. They picture tears, but emotional pain doesn't always just present itself that way. Sometimes it shows up. It shows up as irritability. Sometimes it shows up as withdrawal. Sometimes it shows up as working excessively, becoming emotionally distant, or taking risky risks. So one reason mental health concern can be mixed is because we are looking for only one version of suffering. The reality is that distress can look different from person to person. Yeah. And understanding that may help us recognize when someone needs support. So keep that in mind. So we're going to look at number 2, being strong and being silent are not the same thing. So remember that. By use, I will be leaving the definition of what I talk about. I think one of the most powerful conversation we can have is about the difference between strength and silence. So many people grow up hearing messages such as be strong, especially for the men, toughen up, handle it yourself. But resilience is important. Emotional suppression is not the same thing as resilience. So suppressing something and you being resilient are two different things. Ignoring pain doesn't remove it. Avoiding difficult emotion does not solve them. In fact, sometimes true strength is being honest about what you are carrying. Just coming and say, you know what, I'm going through something and I need support. So sometimes it looks like saying I am struggling and allowing yourself to feel supported, being vulnerable. And I feel like most men just fear being vulnerable. I don't know why. The third conversation is many men were never taught emotional language. So one thing mental health professionals often discuss is emotional literacy. In simple terms, emotional literacy is the ability to identify and communicate what you are feeling. But here's the challenge, just bear with me. Many people grow up learning how to solve problems, not how to describe emotions. This is someone is feeling something, but they cannot put a word to that something they're feeling. It's difficult to communicate stress when all you can say is, I'm fine. And so when someone writes to me, I'm fine, I know they're definitely not. Difficult to seek support when you cannot identify what you are experiencing. Naming emotion does not make someone weak. It gives them a language for understanding themselves. So you as a woman too, or someone who is watching me, please learn emotional language. For me, past colleague told me to name the feelings. Anything that I'm feeling and I cannot describe, I actually just name what I am feeling. Like when I'm feeling like I want to cry, I say I want to cry. When I'm feeling sad, when I'm feeling happy, I name them feelings. So we're going to look at the fourth conversation is loneliness is a mental health issue too. So when we talk about mental health, we don't talk enough about loneliness. Actually, loneliness that comes being in your 30s when life is starting to now change, shift, everyone is doing their own thing. Friendship often becomes harder to maintain as responsibility increases, i.e., works become demanding, families are growing, people are getting married, and all that. So most schedules become fuller because you're either getting a promotion or you're having a managerial position, and slowly meaningful connection begin to disappear. But humans, we are wired for connection. We are social creatures. So relationship really matters. Community really matters. Having people you can call, people you can talk to, people you can trust really matters. Loneliness is not simply about being alone, it's about feeling alone. So know the difference. Being alone, loneliness, know the difference. Yeah. So we're going to look at the fifth conversation is success does not protect against emotional struggle. So I think social media sometimes creates this illusion that success and well-being are the same thing, but they are not. A person can be successful and still struggling. They can be respected and still struggling. They can be productive and still struggle, So external achievement does not guarantee internal peace. And one of the most dangerous or the dangers of success is that it makes it harder for others to recognize when someone is feeling or having a difficult time. Mental health challenges do not discriminate based on achievements, and I feel like that is something that should stick in our minds. So the sixth conversation is mental health often shows up physically. So as a nutritionist, this conversation is very, very important to me and you. And mental health is not only emotional, it often affects the body. You find that stress will affect your sleep pattern, it will affect your eating habits, that is your appetite, it affects your energy level, it's going to affect your concentration level, because when you don't eat well, you don't sleep well, it's going to affect how you're thinking throughout the day. So sometimes people notice physical symptoms before they start to recognize emotional strain. So that's why I always encourage people to view mental and physical health as a connected being. The body and mind are constantly communicating. That's why you should go to my playlist, Food for Thought, and look at the pathways, and you'll find that everything in our bodies are interconnected with the other. I'm going to look at the seventh conversation is many men carry pressure they never talk about. So the invisible weight of expectation. So there are many expectations that people carry quietly. The pressure to provide, especially for you men, the pressure to succeed in life, the pressure to support others, especially if you're firstborn or you're the sole provider of the family, the pressure to remain composed during difficult situations, pressures to have all the answers. The challenge with unspoken pressure is that it often accumulates, and that is very, very true. And when people carry heavy burdens without space to process them, like people don't give you space, they're constantly in your space, asking, wanting, demanding, the stress can become overwhelming. That's why this conversation really matters, not because they remove responsibility, but because they reduce isolation. I feel like most men will agree with me. Leave in the comment section. Have you ever felt the invisible weight of expectation, especially from society, from family, from friends, from your peers? Just leave in the comment section. I would love to hear from you guys. Yeah, so the eighth conversation is asking for help is a skill and not a weakness. I think we need to redefine what asking for help really means, because many people see help seeking as the last resort. Like, let me just struggle, I will ask for help later on. And sometimes you do when you're exhausted, or you've exhausted every other options you have. But support is not a sign of failure, guys. It's a resource. Whether support comes from a friend, from a family member, from a mentor, from a counselor, from a healthcare professional, it can make difficult situations easier to navigate. Just remember, that. So the ninth conversation I feel like we need to have is support system matter more than willpower. So if I celebrate independence, of course I do too. But well-being is rarely built through willpower. I'll leave what the definition of willpower is. So support system really matters. People matter. Community matters. Encouragement matters. Even you just telling me keep going, that's encouragement to me, and it matters. So one of the strongest protective factors for mental well-being is knowing that someone is there when you need them. Just imagine having that friend that you can lean on, you can call, and they're always coming through for you. We are not designed to navigate every challenge in isolation. Connection is not weakness, it's part of just being human. We are social creatures. We are wired to be in a community. That's why Kitambo people used to thrive in communities. But these days, that's a story for another day. So the last conversation I feel like we need to talk about is men deserve care before crisis. One thing I hope that changes in this mental health conversation is the idea that support should only come after a crisis, like after a breakdown, after a suicide, after an outcry from so many people. Mental health deserves attention before things become overwhelming. So mental health is important before a burnout, before isolation, before exhaustion, and before any breaking point, because prevention is just as important as the intervention we think of putting in place after the crisis or after the emergency has happened. And creating an environment where people feel safe discussing well-being early can make a tremendous difference. That's why I wanted this YouTube space to also have a chance for me to talk about my passion for mental health and to create a space, Charity Safe, a space for people to come in and talk about their mental health. I remember I used to have a Facebook group. Maybe I'll share a link if you want to join. But anyways, I don't know how it died that bigger, but I'm still passionate about mental health, guys. And I feel like this June, I've seen a lot of men talking about mental health, and I'm quite happy because I feel like this is something that's only spoken behind closed doors, but people are starting to come up. So what conversation have I left out? If I've left out any conversation and you feel like it needs to be highlighted, please leave in the comment section. I'll be able to get back to let my community know about it. And as we end the episode, I want us to have this closing reflection because I feel like this conversation is worth continuing. Mental health is not simply about awareness campaign. Like I said, it's about creating cultures where people feel seen as human, safe to talk, safe to struggle, safe to seek support without being judged, safe to be imperfect and to know it's okay, because mental well-being is not something we should only discuss during difficult moments. It deserves attention every day. And perhaps one of the most powerful things we can do is create spaces where people feel seen. People are able to speak before they reach a breaking point or a burnout. This conversation doesn't end when June ends. In many ways, that is where the real work often begins. So I'd love to hear your thoughts. Which of this conversation do you think we need to have more often? If you've added yours from what I have listed, what do you think we should be having more? And what is one thing you wish people understood about mental health? I would like the men to talk about this too. So let's continue the conversation respectfully in the comment section. I feel like when we propel this, I feel like more people will be able to know about this. So this has been your episode. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Get me to 200 subscribers. I really appreciate it. Follow me across all my social media platforms, LinkedIn, Charity 𝐿. Let's connect. And also on my Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, it's at Charity Safe Haven. And we'll see each other in the next one. Bye.